This hearing of the Committee on Foreign Affairs will come to order. Welcome, Madam Secretary. Madam Secretary, on behalf of the entire committee, let me say how glad we are to see you healthy and how much we appreciate your desire to testify about Benghazi before you leave office. And let me also say that our appreciation extends to the work that you have performed on behalf of our country. This is our committee's opening hearing of this Congress. It is my initial hearing as its chairman. Examining the first murder of a U.S. ambassador in nearly 35 years, the killing of 3 other brave Americans, is not a welcome place to start. But it is necessary. The State Department must learn from its mistakes to better protect its employees, many of whom serve in hostile environments. Unfortunately, threats to Americans abroad are growing, particularly those threats are growing in North Africa. And the attacks last week in Algeria again show the nature of the danger. I support having a wide diplomatic presence. We can't retreat, as you recognized in your testimony. But it has to be done with the safety of our personnel foremost in mind. This committee intends to work with your department in a bipartisan way and to work to improve security. Every organization has its shortcomings. Few welcome them being highlighted. But it's this committee's job to get answers to the tough questions. Our goal is to identify where State Department management broke down, thus failing to protect our people in Benghazi. It is clear that the problem was not confined to a few individuals. The Accountability Review Board, convened by you, Madam Secretary, found, quote, systemic failures and leadership and management deficiencies at senior levels within 2 bureaus of the State Department. According to the Board, these systemic failures led to the, quote, grossly inadequate security in Libya. The Benghazi compound was facing a storm of militancy, a flood of weapons, and facing a deteriorating security environment. Attacks were escalating on the compound, yet the compound was inexplicably forced to rely on unarmed Libyan guards and a militia that included extremist elements. No wonder the Board found a pervasive realization among those in Benghazi that security was not a high priority for Washington, according to the report. The Board found that responsibility stopped at the Assistant Secretary level below the Department's most senior management. This seems to contrast with the recommendation of the 1999 Accountability Review Board on the East Africa bombings, which said that, quote, the Secretary of State should take a personal and active role in security issues. This committee is concerned that the Department's most senior officials either should have known about the worsening security situation in Benghazi or did know something about that security situation. Either way, the point is that security requests were denied. So I'm not sure the Board here saw the full picture. And if not, its report is not a complete blueprint for fixing things. The State Department must get this right. Al-Qaeda and its affiliates will very likely be targeting other diplomats for years to come. Madam Secretary, the committee stands ready to help. I learned this morning that you and the administration have proposed legislation to fix the review board, which the committee looks forward to considering. Today's discussion may turn to funding, but when reading the conclusions of the board, one must ask how more money would have made a difference in a bureaucracy plagued by what the board called systemic failures. After all, as the security situation in Libya worsened, the State Department turned away free security assets from the Department of Defense. State Department officials have testified that funding was not an issue. More resources may have been needed in some areas, but the tragedy of Benghazi was rooted in bad decisions. Finally, the Benghazi perpetrators must be apprehended, or they must be killed. It's troubling that Tunisia recently released a key suspect. Poor Libyan cooperation has hampered the FBI's investigation. Success here is a matter of justice, and it's also a matter of signaling to militants that there is no place for them to hide if they attack U.S. personnel.